Hello, my name is Colter Scott. This is my non-degree endorsement for building administration at Fort Hays State University. I am going to be presenting my e-portfolio for you guys today. I'm going to start out here. This is just the program information page. We are going to go into the overall candidate information to start off with. We will be going. Here is the artifact folders to be able to find everything that will be throughout this entire ePortfolio in a much concise area. One of the first things we had to do was create a completion timeline. So this starts out from, really anything that is educational based or happens within a school system. So it starts off with, pretty much from when I graduated high school, and then kind of milestones throughout from that point from there on. So graduating college, graduating with a master's in special education, and then all the other coaching and teaching things that I've done in between here and there, all the way to the ideas of when I think I might be retiring or ideas that might happen there. Following this is a video over goals, personal goals, educational goals, professional goals that I would like to see in my future. And it breaks it down each one into the next 1 to 5 years, next 6 to 10 years, and then beyond 10 years after that. Being able to lay out some ground goals that might be possible for me to reach and kind of a jumping off point to what I'd like to get to. Following is leadership philosophy. So as a building leader and educational leader, what are things that I see as important within myself moving forward? Really for me, always been a very family-oriented guy. Have a ton of teachers within my family, and that ranges from a bunch of types in education. That's support staff, elementary teachers, secondary teachers, coaches, tech school teacher, driver's ed instructor, counselor, principal, and retired superintendent of schools. So really for a long time, this has been, as much as I fought it, had been some kind of a calling within my family and something that I could definitely be good at if I would really sit down and put my mind to it. So once I decided to go into this field of study, you had to create a plan. And this section is over the non-degree endorsement program of study through Fort Hays and which directions we needed to take things. First, had to sit down and figure out when I wanted to take courses. Obviously, in talking to my advisor really helped me lay things out, and I started in December of 2021, and then January of 2022 with my first intercession course, all the way up until now into the practicum, where I am then taking from January to May of 2023. So just a little over a year and a half on completing this program. Final underneath the candidate information is the resume. Pretty simple. Done a lot of different things throughout education in my short time. Currently as a related service provider in special education as adapted physical education teacher for our district. Have 5 years of experience in that, 3 years as a paraeducator, and about 12 years of coaching experience of different high school level sports, different awards of championships, presenting at TASN conferences under verbal behavior mapping, and then just skills of crisis prevention intervention over the last 8 years and much more. Moving on, going to the actual ePortfolio activities, we started out by having to answer prompts, and we had to go through these prompts and find 3 separate articles that would be pros or cons to answering the prompt to help us understand a greater understanding of how to create some of these ideas or philosophies, or have a better understanding what it takes to be a building leader in an educational setting, and what we need to know to keep things running smoothly and to be a great leader. So obviously this first one is just how does the data help with continuous improvement towards our vision and goals. This is a considerably long document, so I'll not be going through all of it, but we had to take time to read and assess and find articles that were for or against some of these prompts to allow us to fully understand what it is like and put us in situations that we may feel uncomfortable, or help us in situations later that may arise that we can answer and make it through some of these difficult times in an easier way. So we have 33, I believe, prompts that we, not prompts, standards and things like that we had to go through in this annotated bibliography. The following is the activity log sheet. This is just a simple way for us to be able to go through, see the logged hours of our 150 required hours that we had to put in for this, and then going through making sure we had each of the standards covered and that we were not duplicated any. At the same time, we also had this beautiful sheet, the activity component tracker, brightly colored and easy to follow. Once you really got to understand it, it was really easy to get through. And each of these will correlate with the slides that you'll see here in a minute, where we had to find 5 district artifacts that we wanted to cover. Then we had to I chose to do 7 elementary. So there's 1 elementary artifact under each and every standard. And then I have chose that I would like to become more of a secondary administrator. And so there are 10 artifacts that are under the secondary column, 1 from every standard, but also a couple will come up multiple times for the secondary. And this is what this sheet looks like, multicolored, very easy to follow and very easy to understand once you settle in to take a look at it. Seems very complicated, but is not bad at all. And where the fun stuff begins, we go into the district level activities. This is a slideshow that I've created. We hit on 5 different standards in this, and the first slide is that. As you go through here, we click on, to start out all of these slides, we go through the kind of rewording in my own words, the standard from above, the title of what we're going to be discussing, what the activity is. Then we have the presentation, why I chose what the presentation is about, how it describes it, then why I selected the certain activity. Then we move on to how did this activity and the standard correlate. Underneath that, we have the date that I created this document or video or whatever it is on each slide, and then have roughly about how long it took to create all of the above. Then we go into an area where how did it reflect on me, how did it reflect on people that I presented to, how did it reflect on the staff and students that were being affected by this. And lastly, the last bullet point on all of these slides are how does this experience in creating this artifact create a future leader in myself? What has it done to better or hinder or affect me as a leader in the future? So we go through, it keeps clicking through all of these standards and how it correlates to everything at the district level. And like I said, there's 5 district level standards that are covered. Elementary, we had the same. We had 1 from all of the standards, so there are a total of 7 slides. And a lot of this one is about integrated ethics and the mission and vision statement, and how important that is to our building, and how important it is to kind of let people know who we are at a moment's notice and what we stand for and what we want to see as we go into our building. Following, we have a little bit more about cyberbullying and how it can relate to our students and staff, how we need to talk about things, how we can create an inclusive environment. Moving into how we have to have professional development within our buildings, how we need to talk about things, how we need to communicate and how we need to do things moving forward is very important as a leader. So being able to do all these things, one of the activities I was able to do was interview a future paraeducator for one of our elementary schools. So having the opportunity to go through, click on, move through all this stuff on what it is like to be an interview process and what it is to be on the other side of the table. And that was the last of that one. Then we move on to the secondary activities, go through and did the same thing. Why should we create a mission and vision statement? Why ethics is very important, how to be an ethical leader. I really like this one because it really made you kind of sit down and think back about what has made you a leader into who you are today, who has created that, who has influenced you growing up, and even to today as a leader, which is really awesome. Got to start the school year by helping create a data review sheet for our district, for our secondary level. Was able to take all of the ACT scores, the IB classes, the AB classes that our secondary school have in place, and compare them to other schools in our area and then within our state, and how we are competing and how we're doing compared to other schools around our area, which was really cool, and presented that in front of as a professional development tool. Just a very solid thing is we have to be able to communicate and be able to get out there with our staff and our community to really make sure everybody feels like they are being involved and as a part of our building. Was also had the opportunity to help sit in on some of the overall scheduling for our building. Then obviously was able to help some of our special education teachers schedule a master schedule for our paraeducators. And then also for with what I do, my adapted PE schedule of how to go across 9 schools and see about 40 kids throughout the week during their PE classes. I also had the opportunity to go into different staff's classrooms, kind of do some evaluation sheets, but also just do some observations and take notes and help teachers figure out, they either had an issue that they thought was arising and wanted another person to come in and sit in on to see what could assist or help them fix an issue, maybe solve an issue, maybe there might be an issue and they just want to see how things are going. So this was a really great opportunity that I was able to go to at least 3 teachers within my own building that I was able to follow around and help give some great functional feedback, criticism in a nice, safe manner, which was really cool. Moving forward, we have I was able to meet up with our district's student services and just overall dean of students at our district office. She was a former boss of mine, a very awesome lady that was able to sit down with me. We were able to meet every about 3 weeks to discuss, talk about things, see how things were going, able to go to a board meeting, do a couple hearings, things like that happen at the secondary level over at the district office. This was really awesome, and here is her verification documents. At the secondary level, have an assistant principal at the high school that I've been able to get to know really well. We sat down. We met a lot more on a weekly basis to discuss things, bounce ideas off back and forth to each other, go through scenarios. That was really awesome to have and really grateful to have those moments with him. And he also checked off on my elementary stuff. I did do a few things with some elementary principals, but as a whole, I really bounced ideas off of him. And when it came down to different stuff, we were able to differentiate how we did things. Finally, we have the program reflection that I've written. I had an overall goal of this class and was not 100% sure how things were going to go. But I had a lot of confidence. I believe that I can be a good leader, but it was still scary at the same time. Working a full-time job, coaching 3 high school sports, doing a lot of outside activities. It keeps me very busy. So I was unsure about really how this final portfolio would really go into detail on how it was going to help, and would I be able to get it done. After going through this process of reflecting, coming up with a statement of maybe just being more confidence was really helpful to me, really in the long run. Finally, this reflection goes into, going back and looking back throughout the entire course and finding a couple articles or artifacts or assignments that we did that really covered the key principles that we are trying to go through throughout this entire endorsement. Developing, implementing, evaluating, collaborating, commuting, modeling, reflecting, advocating, cultivating are definitely all key factors that I think are very important to be a strong, solid leader, and something that can really be effective as moving forward as a leader in any position, really, but especially as a building administrator. And then at the bottom here just goes through all the way through, even this course of the practicum. And the very last thing of the portfolio will be this video that I'm creating right now, so we can all enjoy and kind of get an overall quick overview of the portfolio. I do appreciate your guys' time, and thank you for taking a look at my portfolio. Bye.